It's been 2 years since the Xbox One and PS4 have been on the market, and both consoles have come a long way since they were first announced. With the holiday season coming up, most gamers will consider one of these two consoles, but which to choose? I'm Magic Official from the Magic Game Center, and I'm going to try my best to give you my honest opinions about each one and help you figure out which one is right for you. Please note that I'm going to be using facts, but in the end, which console is superior will be my own personal opinion based on these facts, and it is okay if you disagree with them. This will be split into a multi-part series, and today will be part 1, where I will be talking about the looks and hardware of each of the two consoles. For looks, let's start with the PS4. The PS4 is slim and has a sleek rectangular design, and has a half matte, half glossy piano black finish on the console. When it's on, there's a blue light that goes down the middle. It can be placed standing upright, and there are stands made specifically for it. It also has the power supply built into the system, so there's no need for a power brick. Although the console looks beautiful, the problem with the design is the glossy piano black, which is impossible to keep clean. It is constantly attracting fingerprints and scratches easily. My PS4 is well taken care of, and it's still filled with scratches and scuffs on the glossy paint. However, there is a new model that does address this problem by opting for a fully matte black finish. Overall, the PS4's slim, sleek profile will look great in any entertainment setup. Now we move on to the Xbox One, and we see a huge difference. It is much more massive of a console, with significantly more bulk and weight to it than the PS4. Despite being so much larger than the PS4, the power supply is outside of the console, meaning it ships with a power brick. Not only that, but the design isn't exactly the most appealing. One of my cousins came over, and when she saw it, she legitimately asked me why do I still have a VCR, and she didn't know it was an Xbox until I powered it on. The Xbox also has a half matte, half gloss finish like the PS4, and the same problem that plagues the PS4 is also present. That gloss is a magnet to dust, fingerprints, and scuffs. My solution was to buy a skin to cover the Xbox while personalizing it, and it has worked very well. You can also buy a skin for the PS4 to solve this problem. When the Xbox is powered on, the capacitive logo lights up and looks very nice. The PS4 was able to stand upright, however the Xbox One cannot be stood up. It must be lying down because if not, it will block the vents and cause overheating. Not to mention it can also damage the game discs if it's standing upright. This results in the Xbox One needing more dedicated space in your entertainment center setup. The Xbox One isn't an ugly console by any means, but the design and smaller form factor of the PS4 makes it without a doubt the better looking console. Now let's talk about the hardware. On the front of the console, the PS4 has two small capacitive buttons for power and eject, the disc tray, and two USB 3.0 ports for charging the controller or attaching other peripherals such as headsets or flash drives. There are no USB ports on the back, so having only two on the console feels very limiting. And not only that, but these two USB ports are very limited in functionality. But I'll get to that when we discuss software features in a future video. On the sides, there isn't anything really but logos, and on the back are all the ports, being the power, optical audio output, HDMI out, Ethernet, which trust me you're going to need to use, and the auxiliary port to plug in the PlayStation camera. On the front of the Xbox One, we find a capacitive Xbox button that serves to turn the system off and on and lights up. We also find the disc tray and an eject button. On the left-hand side of the console, we find vents, a button to sync up with the controllers, and on the back of the console, we find all the ports, and you can immediately notice that there are many more ports on the Xbox than there were on the PS4. There's the power, HDMI out, optical, HDMI in for your cable box or other media players, two USB 3.0 ports, a Connect port, IR out, and Ethernet port. The Xbox One definitely does benefit from having one more USB port than the PS4. However, two of those USB ports being in the back of the console can be inconvenient because they can be hard to reach depending on where you put your system setup. The Xbox does make up for this, however, by allowing those USB 3.0 ports to have much more functionality than the PS4's, but we'll touch on that again later. On the inside of these systems, there are various similarities and differences. Both consoles run on 8-core AMD CPUs, although the Xbox One's is slightly more powerful due to the higher clock speed. The PS4's runs at 1.6 GHz, while the Xbox One's runs at 1.75 GHz. This means that tasks such as using menus, web browsing, messaging your friends, and all those operating system based processes will be faster on the Xbox One than on the PS4. However, the PS4 has significantly more power in its GPU than the Xbox One does, and it has 8GB of GDDR5 RAM compared to the Xbox One's 8GB of DDR3 RAM. GDDR5 is the kind of RAM that's used in dedicated graphics processors for desktops. It's built for gaming from the ground up, although it does boggle down in slower, normal tasks, whereas DDR3 is great for all tasks. This is another reason why menus and general tasks will be faster on the Xbox One. But it also means that games made for both systems will look better on the PS4 than on the Xbox. There are many more particle effects, anti-aliasing, and higher resolutions on games for PS4 than the Xbox One. That's why most games that run 1080p on PS4 run at 900p on Xbox One. Or if a game runs at 900p on the PS4, the Xbox One version will be 720p. This doesn't mean the Xbox One versions of games are ugly though. While playing the game, you will probably never notice the difference between an Xbox One and PS4 version unless you take out a magnifying glass, go up to your TV, and search for it. Not only that, but the PS4 supports Direct 3D 11.2, while the Xbox One is going to have support for full DirectX 12, which will allow developers to create more impressive effects and graphics on lower-end hardware. This ultimately means that once DX12 rolls around, games will look as good, and perhaps in a few cases probably better than their PS4 counterparts. One thing the Xbox definitely has going for it though is dual band Wi-Fi versus the PS4's single band Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi speeds are enormously faster on the Xbox One, with apps such as Internet Explorer and Netflix benefiting. On the PS4, the single band Wi-Fi is pretty terrible, pulling in very low speeds, which hurts streaming video services or playing games online, even if you have a high-speed broadband subscription. So you might want to keep your PS4 near your modem to pass an Ethernet cable through it rather than use its terrible built-in Wi-Fi. The Xbox One has some great hardware features, such as more USB ports than the PS4, dual-band Wi-Fi, and even HDMI input. However, its internals are simply weaker than the PS4's. Sure, DirectX 12 may fix these issues once it arrives, but as of right now, for its more powerful GPU and use of GDDR5 RAM, the PS4 wins for having superior hardware. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe so you don't miss the coming parts of this mini-series, where I will continue to analyze these two consoles in areas such as their controllers, games, and software to see which one is the best choice for you. I'm Magic Official, and I am out. Peace.